Hey everybody! Before we jump right into the action, I just wanted to let you know that these things are streamed on Twitch, and if you wanna hang out with me while I'm live, you can follow the channel. Will be the first link in the description. So, opponent opens up the game with e4. Gonna be going for the uh, Caro-Kann, and okay, we see the early e5. I think that's like a pretty common theme for lower rated players. I'm gonna go d5. Just hoping he plays d4 and we get back into the advance. So notice that this is a position which we'll normally get after the moves d4, d5, e5. But now we got it from the slightly different move order with e5. Which honestly, it's not amazing, but it's not that bad. If you really want, you can play d6 and play that structure after the ed. It's a bit symmetrical though. They could still go for it here. But I'm more of like a fan of just getting back into the advance, so we can show the Botvinnik-Karls variation. I think this is what you name this. And we play c5. On dc, there are two options to either go knight c6 or e6. My favorite will be to just play e6 and try to regain the pawn immediately. Now, if they try to keep, we can undermine with a5 first, I think. And after c3, we can go ab, cb, followed by b6. And our problem is that they can't do a3 because we taken the rook is pinned. So after this, we do go for takes, followed by b6. I think if they go for the check, then bishop d7 should be fine. And okay, if cb, we're not going to be taking back, but we're taking their intermezzo. That's kind of the point of the line, because honestly, I think it's fine to just play b6 in this position as well, but it's much better to have a5, because after b6, pawn takes bishop b4, there is a c3 move hitting the bishop, so it's just nicer to throw this in, and when they play bishop e3, we can trade everything. Now just take on c5. One of my students literally had the same position very recently. And now I'm thinking about queen a5, but the problem is that on knight e2, queen c5, there is rook c1. So I think even simpler is to play knight d7 and just regain that pawn. Yeah, win back one of the pawns. And okay, let's see what white has in mind to do. So I think this was important to dodge queen a5, knight e2. I think this is a pretty important trick to avoid there with queen takes and rook c1, and there's no way to protect c8 bishop. So after queen d4, we can safely collect back the pawn with a much better position with queen a5, queen c5. But maybe even simpler to just continue development, idea to play knight c6, and we will eventually win back our pawn. So we can once again go for the check, hitting the bishop this time too, but he will still go knight c3. So yeah, not really concerned about this. Just gonna castle, allowing him to take if he wants to, trying to keep the pawn. Problem is that he's really neglecting development if he does that. So I think there should be a way to somehow punish this. Maybe now could simply go bishop e6. Also knight f5, tempting. Queen c7 looking pretty good as well. Like bishop d7, bishop d7. So bishop a6, queen a5, knight c3, queen a6. Yeah, I think I actually like that line. So watch this. We're gonna go there. And after they take, we don't take immediately, but we throw in the check so that we can take with a queen and keep his king in the middle. I think that's the cleanest. Posing as many problems as we can. And yeah, now when they take that, they keep the extra pawn, but as I was saying, issue is that the king remains in the middle, and even the white is up a pawn, they're gonna be playing down a rook because they're unable to bring that into the game. And yeah, I could do something like knight f5, although I would try to bring one of my rooks into the game first. So something like rook fc8 or rook ab8 is what comes to mind. Could also do knight f5 with d4 if I want to be more aggressive, but I think first we need some more pieces. And could do it either way, really. I think we're going to be using this rook because in case of queen a4, the bishop will be defended. I think that's why we prefer it this way, and just ideas to play like maybe rook b2 or maybe knight c6 followed by like knight b4 with the knight coming into d3. So I've noticed this idea, but he's still not threatening to castle because knight will drop. So that's why his position is so bad right now. There is simply nothing that really works. So here I would, oh sorry. So here I would think about something like queen b5, threatening mate. But he could do queen d2 maybe. There's not such an easy way to make progress. Thinking about the way to activate my rooks. There's definitely bishop takes on e2 as an option as well. With queen b5, but there seems to be queen d3. And yeah, I don't really see a great move there, to be honest. Even though I'm sure that position is really good as well. So how do we make the best out of this? I think taking with queen b5 actually might be the way to go, just because we're exposing the king and we start with some like really concrete operations now. Especially with rook a4 idea, now that I'm looking at it. That looks pretty juicy. With the rook coming over, all the pieces are kind of coordinating nicely. I think this is now looking better and better. Yeah, I think I like rook a4. Not sure if it's such a great move, but it definitely looks very interesting to me. Maybe queen b5 should be thrown in actually. Thinking about this, because like queen b5, he's gonna be like forced to play queen d3. And then maybe there is queen b2 check. So he's now forced on queen d2 in that position. And then yeah, still not super simple. Now on rook a4, a funny trick that he could try, maybe rook hb1. Because if we take on d4, it takes our rook with check. Knight c8 only move and he wins the second rook. And I think he's just better there. So rook a4, I missed that he has this trick with rook fb1. Will he see it? Most likely not. Should this be your thinking process? Of course not. You should always think that your opponent will find the best move. Or at least you should be expecting that to some extent. And maybe now simply knight c6 actually works best. Bringing the knight over. Also have to speed up with this a bit because we spent plenty of time trying to find like the best combo. But I think just actually bringing the knight over is pretty solid. Not sure. Maybe this was just an inaccuracy. It's a pretty strange position where I'm like missing the final blow. Pretty sure we should be winning in like many ways here. This just looks really, really bad for my opponent. Okay, especially when they hang the queen. But just for the sake of making this a bit more instructive, we're not gonna be taking the hanging fruit. We're gonna be playing it for the initiative. So problem is, if we played for the initiative, they're ready to hide the king. And I'm actually not sure whether we have that much compensation there. So gonna be taking the queen because wish there was a way to keep the initiative going with ease, but couldn't find any. And okay, now with the extra queen, should just be pretty simple. Yeah, queen a7, preparing to check and infiltrate. He can't do c6 because the knight drops. And knight b3, I think we're just gonna keep it simple now. This is usually a strategy that you can use. Sure, we're up a lot of material, but just trading everything. So he has no pieces to play with, basically. And now we just get sort of an easy win. Rook c1 is pretty simple, forcing b4 and then rook c4. Winning the pawns. And okay, we were winning with the extra queen easily, but now when they only have the pawns to play with, typically will be a pretty easy conversion. Gonna win the c pawn and now just keep trading stuff. Just okay, win another pawn if they give it away like that, and protect the rook and go promote. Just do f5. From now on, it should be like pretty routine conversion. Just move the rook away. It doesn't really matter at this point. We can just go for the queen right away, but I'll try to play it as precise as I can. Your opponent's trying to get a stalemate, but after g5, we actually win with the checkmate. So this would be pretty funny if we could manage to promote bishop and get a checkmate. So we managed to get this one in. Okay, so actually someone pointed out a pretty interesting line there, which maybe I missed. So I was saying that if I go queen b5, wait, how was the line? So it was rook a4, and I was saying if rook b1, he could get into this, and he is winning. But perhaps I can take on b1 right away. That's correct. Yeah, this would have been actually much better. Yeah, could have gone for this. I missed that there is rook b1 intermezzo in that position. That's true. I only calculated taking the queen, but I can do this move for sure. Hey everybody, thanks a lot for making it this far into the video. And if you're interested in checking out my London system course, will be the first link in description. So thanks again, and I'll see you around on the channel. Take care.